The National Electrical Code does not offer explicit instructions about the distance required between high voltage and low voltage cables when they are installed on a cable tray. However, Section 300.3 C of the National Electrical Code states that cables operating at different voltage levels should not occupy the same cable tray unless a physical barrier separates them. To find more specific guidance, we can turn to the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers Standard 1202-2023 titled Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers Guide for Electrical Power Distribution for Industrial Plants. Table 7.7 within the standard provides recommendations for the minimum separation distances between high voltage and low voltage cables on cable trays. These recommendations vary based on the voltage rating of the high voltage cables. Firstly, for high voltage cables rated from 2.4 kV to 15 kV, the recommended minimum distance to low voltage cables is 6 inches, which is approximately 150 mm. Secondly, if the high voltage cables are rated between 15 kV and 35 kV, the minimum recommended distance increases to 12 inches, or about 300 mm. Thirdly, for high voltage cables with voltage ratings from 35 kV to 69 kV, the suggested minimum separation is 18 inches, equivalent to 450 mm. These distance recommendations are determined by several factors. 1. Higher voltage high voltage cables create a greater risk of electrical interference with low voltage cables. 2. The closer proximity of high voltage and low voltage cables increases the likelihood of arcing and electrical faults. 3. Using a barrier between high voltage and low voltage cables can significantly decrease the potential for both electrical interference and faults. It's crucial to remember that these measurements are simply recommendations. The actual separation needed in a real-world installation may need to be greater, depending on the specific circumstances. For instance, if the cables are being installed in an environment with substantial electrical noise, it may be necessary to increase the separation distance beyond the recommended minimums. This would help further reduce the risk of electrical interference. To summarize the key points, the National Electrical Code mandates a barrier when high voltage and low voltage cables share a cable tray, while Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers Standard 1202-2023 offers specific distance recommendations depending on voltage levels. Always assess the environment for potential electrical noise and adjust separation accordingly to ensure safety and reliability. The purpose of these guidelines is to prevent electrical interference, reduce the likelihood of faults, and maintain a safe operating environment. Let's delve further into the practical implications of these guidelines and the factors influencing cable separation. Understanding the reasons behind these recommendations is crucial for making informed decisions during installation and maintenance. Electrical interference can manifest in various ways, potentially disrupting the operation of low-voltage systems. This interference can be caused by electromagnetic fields generated by high-voltage cables, which can induce currents in nearby low-voltage cables. In sensitive electronic equipment, even small induced currents can lead to malfunctions or inaccurate readings. Therefore, maintaining adequate separation is vital to minimize this risk. Arcing and electrical faults pose significant safety hazards. If the insulation between high voltage and low voltage cables breaks down, it can lead to a short circuit resulting in a dangerous arc flash. Arc flashes can cause severe burns, equipment damage, and even explosions. Proper separation helps reduce the likelihood of insulation breakdown and the subsequent risk of arcing. The type of barrier used between high voltage and low voltage cables can also affect the overall safety and performance of the system. Barriers should be made of non-conductive materials to prevent electrical current from flowing between the cables. They should also be durable enough to withstand the environmental conditions in which they are installed. Furthermore, the design of the cable tray itself can play a role in cable separation. Cable trays with built-in dividers or compartments can help maintain the required distances between cables. When installing cables on a cable tray, it is essential to follow the manufacturer's instructions and best practices for cable management. Cables should be properly supported and secured to prevent them from sagging or shifting over time. This can help maintain the separation distances and prevent damage to the cable insulation. In addition to the factors already mentioned, other considerations can influence the required separation distance. These include the type of cable insulation, the ambient temperature, and the presence of corrosive substances. Cables with thicker insulation generally provide better protection against electrical breakdown, allowing for slightly reduced separation distances. High ambient temperatures can accelerate the degradation of cable insulation, potentially requiring increased separation. Corrosive substances can also damage cable insulation, increasing the risk of electrical faults. Therefore, it is important to select cables that are suitable for the specific environmental conditions in which they will be installed. Regular inspection and maintenance are essential for ensuring the continued safety and reliability of cable tray systems. Inspection should be performed to identify any signs of damage to the cables, barriers, or cable trays. Maintenance should include cleaning the cables and cable trays to remove any dirt or debris that could contribute to insulation breakdown. If any problems are detected, they should be addressed promptly to prevent further damage or safety hazards. It is also important to ensure that all personnel working on or near cable tray systems are properly trained in electrical safety procedures. This includes wearing appropriate personal protective equipment, such as insulated gloves and safety glasses, and following lockout/tagout procedures when working on energized equipment. In summary, maintaining adequate separation between high voltage and low voltage cables on cable trays is crucial for ensuring electrical safety and preventing equipment damage. The National Electrical Code requires a barrier between cables of different voltage levels, while Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers Standard 1202-2023 provides specific distance recommendations based on voltage ratings. Factors such as electrical interference, arcing potential, cable insulation type, ambient temperature, and environmental conditions should all be considered when determining the appropriate separation distance. Regular inspection and maintenance are essential for ensuring the continued safety and reliability of cable tray systems. By following these guidelines and best practices, you can minimize the risk of electrical hazards and maintain a safe and efficient electrical system. Let's consider some examples to illustrate the application of these guidelines in different scenarios. In a large industrial plant with numerous high voltage and low voltage cables running through cable trays, it is essential to carefully plan the cable layout to ensure adequate separation. The high voltage cables should be routed along one side of the cable tray, while the low voltage cables should be routed along the other side. A physical barrier, such as a metal divider, should be installed between the two sides to provide additional protection. In a data center with sensitive electronic equipment, the separation between high voltage and low voltage cables is particularly important. Electrical interference from high voltage cables can disrupt the operation of servers and other critical equipment, leading to data loss or system downtime. Therefore, it is recommended to use shielded cables and to increase the separation distance beyond the minimum recommended values. In an outdoor installation, the cables are exposed to the elements, which can accelerate the degradation of cable insulation. Therefore, it is important to use cables that are specifically designed for outdoor use and to provide additional protection against moisture and UV radiation. The separation distance may also need to be increased to account for the harsher environmental conditions. In a retrofit project, where existing cable trays are being reused, it may be challenging to achieve the recommended separation distances. In such cases, it is important to carefully assess the risks and to implement additional safety measures, such as installing additional barriers or using shielded cables. Ultimately, the goal is to minimize the risk of electrical hazards and to ensure the safe and reliable operation of the electrical system. The Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers Standard 1202-2023 also provides guidance on the selection of cable trays and barriers. The standard recommends using cable trays that are made of corrosion-resistant materials and that are properly grounded to prevent the buildup of static electricity. The barriers should be made of non-conductive materials and should be securely attached to the cable trays. In addition to the technical aspects of cable separation, it is also important to consider the human factors. Personnel working on on-air cable tray systems should be properly trained and aware of the potential hazards. They should also be provided with the necessary personal protective equipment and tools to perform their job safely. Clear signage should be posted to identify high voltage and low voltage cables and to warn personnel of the potential hazards. Regular safety audits should be conducted to ensure that all safety procedures are being followed. By addressing both the technical and human factors, you can create a safer and more efficient working environment. The principles of cable separation are not limited to cable trays. They also apply to other types of cable installations, such as conduits and underground ducts. In general, it is always a good practice to maintain adequate separation between high voltage and low voltage cables to minimize the risk of electrical hazards. The specific requirements for cable separation may vary depending on the application and the applicable codes and standards. Therefore, it is important to consult with qualified electrical engineers and contractors to ensure that all installations are performed safely and in compliance with all applicable regulations. In conclusion, cable separation is a critical aspect of electrical safety. By following the guidelines and best practices outlined in the National Electrical Code and the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers Standard 1202-2023, you can minimize the risk of electrical hazards and ensure the safe and reliable operation of electrical systems. Remember to consider all relevant factors, including voltage levels, environmental conditions, and human factors when determining the appropriate separation distance. Regular inspection and maintenance are essential for maintaining the integrity of cable installations over time. By prioritizing cable separation, you can protect personnel, prevent equipment damage, and maintain a safe and efficient working environment. Now, let's consider a few more specific scenarios that might arise in practice. Imagine you're tasked with upgrading an existing electrical system in a manufacturing facility. The current cable trays are overcrowded, and you need to add new high-voltage cables to power some new equipment. The existing low-voltage cables are already in place. In this situation, you would need to carefully assess the available space in the cable trays and determine whether it's possible to maintain the required separation distances. If there's not enough space, you might need to consider installing new cable trays specifically for the high-voltage cables. Alternatively, you could explore the possibility of using compact cables with reduced insulation thickness, which could help to save space. However, you would need to ensure that these cables still meet all applicable safety standards. Another scenario might involve installing cables in a harsh industrial environment with high levels of dust, moisture, and corrosive substances. In this case, you would need to select cables that are specifically designed to withstand these conditions. You might also need to provide additional protection, such as enclosing the cable trays in sealed enclosures. The separation distance might need to be increased to account for the increased risk of insulation breakdown. A third scenario could involve installing cables in a sensitive electronic environment, such as a hospital or research laboratory. In these environments, even small amounts of electrical interference can have a significant impact on the performance of sensitive equipment. Therefore, it's essential to use shielded cables and to maintain the maximum possible separation between high voltage and low voltage cables. You might also need to install filters and other devices to further reduce electrical noise. When dealing with any of these scenarios, it's always a good idea to consult with experienced electrical engineers and contractors. They can help you to assess the risks and to develop a plan that meets all applicable safety standards and regulations. They can also provide valuable insights into the best practices for cable installation and maintenance. Remember that electrical safety is a shared responsibility. Everyone who works on or near electrical systems has a role to play in preventing accidents and injuries. By following the guidelines and best practices discussed here, you can help to create a safer and more efficient working environment for yourself and your colleagues. Now let's expand on the practical considerations for implementing these standards. Firstly, documentation is key. Detailed records of cable layouts, voltage levels, and separation distances should be maintained for all electrical installations. This documentation is essential for future maintenance, upgrades, and troubleshooting. Secondly, training is crucial. Electricians and technicians who work with high voltage and low voltage cables must be properly trained in safety procedures and the relevant codes and standards. They should understand the risks associated with inadequate cable separation and how to mitigate those risks. Thirdly, regular inspections are vital. Routine inspections of cable trays and other cable installations should be conducted to identify any signs of damage, deterioration, or inadequate separation. These inspections can help to prevent potential electrical hazards before they lead to accidents or equipment failures. Fourthly, risk assessments are important. Before any new electrical installation or modification is undertaken, a thorough risk assessment should be conducted to identify potential hazards and to develop appropriate mitigation strategies. This risk assessment should consider factors such as voltage levels, environmental conditions, and the presence of sensitive electronic equipment. Fifthly, communication is essential. Open communication between engineers, electricians, and other personnel is crucial for ensuring that all safety concerns are addressed and that everyone is aware of the potential hazards associated with electrical work. Sixthly, adherence to manufacturer's instructions is critical. Always follow the manufacturer's instructions for cable installation, cable tray selection, and the use of barriers and other safety devices. The manufacturer's instructions are based on extensive testing and research and are designed to ensure the safe and reliable operation of electrical systems. Seventhly, continuous improvement is necessary. The electrical safety field is constantly evolving, with new technologies and best practices emerging all the time. Therefore, it's important to stay up to date on the latest developments and to continuously improve your knowledge and skills in this area. Eighthly, compliance with local regulations is mandatory. In addition to the National Electrical Code and the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers standards, you must also comply with all applicable local regulations and codes. These regulations may vary depending on your location and the type of electrical installation. By following these practical considerations, you can help to ensure that your electrical installations are safe, reliable, and compliant with all applicable codes and standards. Remember that electrical safety is an ongoing process that requires constant vigilance and attention to detail. In addition to the points already discussed, there are several other factors to consider when determining the appropriate separation distance between high voltage and low voltage cables. One important factor is the type of grounding system used. A properly designed and installed grounding system can help to minimize the risk of electrical shock and equipment damage. The grounding system should be designed to provide a low impedance path for fault currents to flow back to the source, which will cause the circuit breaker to trip and energize the circuit. Another factor to consider is the presence of surge protection devices. Surge protection devices can help to protect sensitive electronic equipment from damage caused by voltage surges. These devices should be installed at the point of entry of the electrical service and at other locations throughout the electrical system where surge protection is needed. A third factor to consider is the use of arc-resistant switchgear. Arc-resistant switchgear is designed to contain the energy of an arc flash event, which can help to protect personnel and equipment from injury and damage. Arc-resistant switchgear is typically used in high-voltage applications where the risk of an arc flash is high. A fourth factor to consider is the use of remote racking systems. Remote racking systems allow personnel to operate circuit breakers and other electrical equipment from a safe distance, which can help to reduce the risk of electrical shock and arc flash injuries. Remote racking systems are typically used in high-voltage applications where the risk of electrical hazards is high. By considering these additional factors, you can further enhance the safety and reliability of your electrical installations.